It's the Sleepers Podcast. It's Wednesday, September 6th, and I think it feels sleepy today. There's a storm outside my window. I stayed up till 1 a.m. watching tennis with you. And what's going on your face right now?
Yeah, I didn't want to be too loud about my tribute today, but I had 4 teardrops in honor of 4 free Jim Harbaugh, man. It wasn't just a one-day thing yesterday. I'm screaming free you every day in any way possible. So I have these 4 teardrops in honor of 4 Jim Harbaugh. Free that man.
Who do you think is making a more significant, serious effort towards the free Jim movement? Is it you or is it JJ McCarthy?
It's me, because I'm doing it when the cameras aren't around. I went to sleep with these 4 teardrops on my face.
No, that's just a lie, because I just saw you draw them on camera right now.
Greg, why? Is that what we're doing? Is behind the scenes not sacred anymore?
We're not a podcast that lies unless it's
That's
to benefit each other. And
that's true.
This doesn't benefit me right now. We have 3 topics today, as we do every day. Michigan State is after a legacy recruit. We'll see how Carter Elliott feels about that. We're going to play our first rendition of, as of today, Pick Your Final 4, which is a game we love to play almost every single day throughout the season. But we're going to stake our claim on 4 teams today, and we'll see what happens. And then we're going to talk about some under the radar slept on players in Big Ten basketball. I think you and I took wildly different approaches to this exercise without knowing the players. Just from how you're talking about your list, I think we took wildly different approaches, and I think we're going to hate each other's lists equally. So I'm looking forward to that segment. But first, we got to start with comments. As always, Carter, do you have a favorite YouTube comment from yesterday?
Yes, I do. Mine came from Boilerball 3094. Not enough Purdue coverage. Also, you need to dress better and stop wearing hats. Be fancy. Do we need to dress better for these?
I think we need to dress worse. That's where my head went when I read that comment. Like, because I put a little thought and effort into this.
He also said, side note, can't we get Hummel on this show? I think he'd up your game. Hummel's one of the hardest working people in show business. I just don't know if we're getting him at 9 a.m. on a weekday that he can hop on Sleepers.
I think we probably could get him if we planned ahead and had a reason to bring him on the show. Not just hey, can we get you this day? It would be to talk about something specific. But I think Robbie is nice enough to actually do that. I think it's hilarious to me. The comment is Robbie Hummel would really up your game. No shit. He's Robbie Hummel. He's literally the best college basketball media member there is. Even being remotely associated with him in any way ups our game. So sorry, I'm not Robbie Hummel. One day I will try. Carter kind of looks like Jawan Johnson if you squint a little bit, but outside of that, there's no comp here.
Do not know how to take that and or feel about that. But this also bumps Purdue down in my rankings because they're worried about all the wrong things. They're worried about getting Hummel on this show when they have a CVS across the street from Mackey. That's the thing. They're not doing their part.
I also think we do talk about Purdue a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we did. Almost too much. Shit.
But I also think that comment was meant nicely. I don't think this was a hate comment. I think it was just talk about my squad. I listen. That's how I interpreted it.
Let me get it off the chip on the shoulder bank then. I usually fill that up every morning. I'll take that out.
When you got a crack, you don't need to fill it up every morning, my friend. One day I'll get you there. All right. Should we move to the Discord? Good.
That was a bar. Yes, we can move to the Discord, but that was a bar and that needs to be addressed. Please.
I feel like I've said that exact bar 4 different ways over the last.
But that one was the perfect one, though. When you have a crack, you don't have to fill it up. I'll teach you one day, my friend. Let's move on to the comments. That was top tier.
All right, I'll take it. Thank you for that. Okay, good day in the Discord yesterday. Couple new signups yesterday as well. Shout out TJ is in the Discord now, a longtime friend of ours, and featured participant in the newsletter, the only outsider that we've ever extended an invite to contribute to the Sleepers newsletter with before. So maybe we'll have to make that a more frequent thing. But Let's jump into somewhere in this because there's a lot of comments from yesterday. I don't think all of these are comments. It was more discussion. I'll try to pick out the ones that are most comments. Fam says, after listening to the U.S. Open segment, I'll give it 2 years before Cart replaces Eubanks on Tennis Channel as their roundtable analyst.
Give me 5. Give me 5. But I am locked in. The true test is that if I can lock in on a Tuesday when they're playing in the Rick's American Cafe Open. I feel like I'm a big tennis match watcher now. I watched Cincinnati. Don't know if that counts as. I feel like that's a pretty big tournament as well. I need to lock in on the Wednesday tournament that's outside Lansing Catholic. Like that's what I need to do, but I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Also, I don't think you should ever want to be the next Eubanks or strive for that as a goal. The more that I see from Mr. Eubanks, who I loved just off watching him play tennis until I realized like this man would rather be an analyst than a tennis player. And he was just at the Wimbledon quarterfinals like 3 weeks ago. He's also like gassing up Ben Shelton, like trying to scream at him that Carlos is afraid of Ben Shelton. Carlos is afraid of no one. First of all, let's be very clear about that. And it's American privilege that is making everyone like gas up a 20-year-old who's going to get smoked by Novak. More on that in my one big thing. Derek says, what's the right amount of points to play in an open gym / pickup hoops?
I mean, I feel always strongly about this. I do first game to 15, 2s and 3s. Following that, you do games to 12, 2s and 3s. And then the last game, which is always the shittiest game of the run, typically, because you always want to. There's always those people that want to do one more than the one more you don't need to do. That game goes to 15, and that's how you do it. I am an advocate, though, of at least I used to do this when I played in like the actual like super competitive run. So like when I was playing with like really good people, like D1 players or some pros and stuff like that. You go to 7 and all ones, which is pretty intense in its own right. So I feel like those are the only two ways to do it.
Yeah, I think the best pickup games are played to 12. I'll just say that 15, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, 15 is also the format that my local pickup hoops runs use. I don't enjoy the games 15. Like I will play them. Those are the rules, but like I'd rather those games are just 12. 12 is the right number. Everybody's gassed by the time you get to 15 when you're in your 30s. And I like good basketball, not bad basketball, even when I'm just playing pickup.
There's nothing I hate more, and it's a rule I've been implementing as of late. If there's that last game where dudes are like one more, let's go to 15, I just stop at that game because that last game is awful basketball and it's pointless.
It depends on how hot I'm shooting that day. Like if I've made like 7 of 9, you can't pull me off the court. But if I missed my last 2, then yeah, probably time to go home and get some dinner. You also talked about playing one-on-one and how that should be played. 3 dribbles. You're a strong proponent of that.
Yeah, I think it should be widely implemented throughout all of basketball circles. If you play one-on-one, you got to play 3 dribbles. If you can't score in 3 dribbles, that's on you. But 3 dribbles is how you should play one-on-one. Otherwise, people are just going to be out there dribbling around, doing nonsense. 3 dribbles and no offensive rebounds.
I also agree with that. The no offensive rebounds is the more key part to me. But more importantly, don't play one-on-one. After a certain point, if you're not a competitive basketball player, you have no business playing one-on-one. That's how I feel. Like you and I, in our current states, should never play one-on-one. Not against each other either. I'm talking against anyone. Like you should not be playing one-on-one against anyone.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Except your dog on TikTok.
Okay, see now, fill up the crack. Now I'm not like that one-on-one.
Last thing, 2s, like 3-pointers being 2s has to happen. Like if you're playing a pickup game of 5-on-5 and there's no 3-pointers with extra value, what are we doing? Like we're taking away a whole element of the game.
Yeah. Also, I just realized I said 2s and 3s. I meant 1s and 2s up to 12 too. By the way, I didn't mean to say that.
I figured. Good discussion though. A lot of people with different ways that they prefer to play in the comment section. So it's interesting depending on where you grow. Like you and I apparently grew up in similar hoop circles that we landed on 15, 12, 12, 12, 15.
Yeah, I don't know what other way you would do it, but it does irk me when people play other ways. Like if someone comes to the court and like let's play to 21, why?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah, agreed. New question here. Ethan Bacillus, his question for the pod. Favorite sneakers of all time, either to hoop in or just wear casually. I got the Jordan 3 white cement. MJ's free throw line dunk in them is iconic.
See, so my favorite to hoop in general are Kyrie's. But I think maybe my favorite hoop shoe of all time, one of the most comfortable ones, is Paul George's first shoe. Paul George ones, very comfortable. Also, I put in tie with that Giannis's first shoe. Those are very comfortable as well. Favorite just sneaker of all time. I'm not really a sneakerhead or anything like that, so I'm pretty simple. So I like ones, just high top ones they're comfortable, they're casual. You can wear them with anything. So I would just go with just a pair of ones.
Yeah, I appreciate this question. I am so far from like a sneakerhead. Like I just am not a shoe guy. Two things: I'm not a shoe guy and a car guy. Really don't care. Like just do they work? That's what I care about. Like I'm not necessarily trying to flaunt style points with shoes or with cars. That's the middle-aged white dad in me. But I will say my favorite.
You have a shoe though. I know your shoe.
Well, my favorite pair of basketball shoes ever was Kyrie Hyperdunks, which is ironic because I despise Kyrie Irving. But
Kyrie makes great hoop shoes though.
Those are my favorite. I had a couple good runs of various forms of Kyrie Hyperdunks in college. But yeah, just like recreational shoes. I mean, I do have a go-to shoe, but I'm not even going to say it because I don't like prioritize it like it's a go-to shoe.
I know what your go-to shoe is.
What's the go-to shoe?
The SBs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your go-to. You got those in various colors.
Yeah, do. But that's just more out of convenience than like style points. I don't know. I respect people who care about shoes and how they look. I just can't get into it for some reason.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm also not a car guy either.
Yeah, but we might have to flesh that out one day. Respect
like
people
people ask you, they're like, if you make like a lot of money, what's the first car you're gonna get or something like that? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just drive my truck like I do now.
This might be maybe we got to flip our own thing on us, but are we being poor right now?
No,
I think we're being poor right now. We don't care about cool cars. We don't care about cool shoes. We're being poor.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, we're going to have to look ourselves in the mirror after this one. Thank you for the question, Ethan. Ethan also had one of my favorite comments of all time last night in a different channel. We started talking a little Peyton Thorne again, which I should never do. I need to completely clear that. But Ethan said something about you being halfway right all the time just pisses me off.
Say it to myself all the time.
It's a pretty good way to summarize my existence, I think. Shout out to Ethan, though. Appreciate you. Keith says, if you could grant one Big Ten team besides your home a national championship, who would it be?
You know, I don't know if I can give the good folks of Champaign a national title. I don't know what it would do to that fan base. It might rip it. It might combust on site. I'll give it to the Buckeyes. I think I want to see Ohio State win one.
It's so wild how much of a Buckeye you are. It really is. Like there were no Ohio State fans we interacted with. We met fans at every place we went to that we like had a great time with. We really enjoyed it. And Ohio State, we got none of that. And you just want to reward Ohio State fans.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. Okay. So my gut reaction immediately was Purdue because I think Matt Painter deserves one. But the more I thought about this and let this settle a little bit, it's Illinois. It truly is Illinois. After all I've been through with Illinois fans, how great would it be if Brad Underwood won a national title at Illinois in this regime?
Why do I feel like if Brad Underwood did win a title with this Illinois team, he would leave immediately after?
He probably would. And we would get some backstage access. Like we'd be buoying up with a national champ. Our YouTube views would be through the roof. Champaign would be going up. That would be by far the most. Like if Purdue wins a national title, as much as I want to see that for their basketball program, is West Lafayette hosting a book club night on Tuesday to celebrate?
Okay, but so we're talking like what town would go up the most? Like Bloomington would go crazy.
Bloomington would go crazy. But I'm sticking with Champaign. Keith,
I'm still Ohio State.
Keith says his is Indiana and Bloomington for the record. He says the most diehard fan base, a true basketball school, returns to glory. Yeah, it would be good for the conference. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset if any Big Ten team wins a title. I think we need one. And Cart would just be upset if it was Michigan. But other than that, anybody can do it.
Indiana getting one would be huge too, because I feel like they could talk about that when they talk about Indiana instead of talking about Hoosiers, which is a terrible movie.
Tristan says, if the bag truly didn't exist, which top recruiters would still do well and who would be ruined?
So I think not even a homer pick. I think Izzo would still do well. I think he'd still do well because he has I think the coaches that would do well are the ones that have kind of like that established pitch or that established I don't even know what the word would be that comes to my mind. I think like the likes of Scott Drew, I think would still be really good. The Sampsons, I think would still be good. Shit, I would even throw guys like Mick Cronin in there. I think they would still be good recruiters. It's guys that I think those are the guys that come to my mind off rip.
Painter, I'd throw in that group. Not that he's a top recruiter, but like Painter's not getting anybody because the bag. He'd still get his 7-footers.
Would you still throw Self in there?
Yeah.
I think I would too. As much as he does have the resources, I would still throw Self in there.
Yeah, it's hard to separate because the bag is so much a part of what Self does, but I do think he would still be great. Maybe like compared to Cal Perry, I think if Cal didn't have bag access, he goes away.
Is Todd Golden honorable mention for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't talk about that man anymore. I was going to say Scott Drew. I think on the flip side of who would be ruined, I think Mark Few would crash and burn pretty quickly. Wow. I don't think he's convincing anyone to go to Spokane.
What about Tommy Lloyd?
To be determined. I don't have enough on Tommy yet.
I want to throw this out there for Tommy Lloyd because it's the theory I'm working on. It was great. It was great after he left Gonzaga. Had a great season. When does that Tommy Lloyd coming from Gonzaga, maybe he was behind the Gonzaga master, when does that kind of wear off? And I feel like Arizona comes back to earth a little bit.
Probably after Caleb Love plays for his team.
Like, that might do it.
Yeah, I still am very in on Tommy Lloyd. Like, I think last year's team was great. He just had a team that Kirk Risa was the best guard on, and you saw the dangers of that in a one single elimination game setting. He needs a better guard. I think this team should have better guards. I like Jaden Bradley. I like Boswell. I don't like Caleb Love. So it'll be a true test of what Tommy Lloyd can do. I still am very high on Tommy, though. Like, I think he is in that next tier. Like, if there are coaches to take over the elite tier after Bill Self and Cal leave at some point, my eye is on Tommy Lloyd. My eye is on Scott Drew because I think he has 20 years left. And my eye is on Matt Painter. Cart. If he can get over the hump, and Tang. You can throw Tang in there. Those are my four. Also, one more I forgot to mention that would be ruined if the bag didn't exist. Larinaga would be gone.
You really?
Yeah, he would have retired like 20 years ago.
I just think the old man mystique just works for him.
Really?
Yeah, and just Miami. I think Miami in general too.
I think it's Life Wallet.
The city of Miami.
I think it's Life Wallet that works for him more than anything. But okay.
That too.
Trevor says, speaking of, quote, corny things from yesterday's pod, in my opinion, the corniest thing in sports right now is when recruits are committing to a school and they do the whole ordeal of putting on a different hat, trying to fake out the crowd watching. It was cool for a little, but very corny now. Why do I feel like you would love this move?
It's played out. I will say that. And that's what makes it corny. I do have like a list of basketball corniness or icks that get to me. That's one of them. Another one is the putting a ridiculous number of percent that you're committed to a school bothers the shit out of me. I'm 1,050% committed. Okay. Like, if you're going to do that, I want people to be truthful because I know some of them aren't 100%. Like, if I'm throwing my recruitment post up and I know I just want to maybe leverage a bag, I'm 79% committed to Bama. I'm feeling good about going there. But I'm open.
See, that would be great, though, if it flipped the other way. Like, if a 5-star recruit actually came out and said, pleased to announce I'm 84% committed.
Yes.
We would love that guy. We want to see that.
I love that. I just don't want the lies. I don't want 5,000% committed.
I feel like it's probably a good thing for the universe that you or I collectively were never a 5-star recruit in anything, because
I thank God. I thank God every day he didn't give me Division I basketball talents. I thank him every single day. He knew better.
Yeah, we would have collectively between the two of us been historically horrible as people doing that. Like, I just would have trolled. Like, I haven't understood why there isn't a recruit, and maybe Dylan Harper's the closest thing to it. But I want a recruit who just like knows where they're going, has told people under wraps silently where they're going, and is just out to troll that team's rival for the next 12 months. Like,
Yeah,
if I
every visit, all the gear, all of it.
yeah, like if I knew I was going to play for Juwan Howard, I'm spending the next 12 months of my life making Tom Izzo thinking I'm going to go play for him. Like, that's all I would do. I'd make him waste his time. I don't get why anybody hasn't done that. And final comments, everybody's just responding to Trevor's great comment about the hats. And we have some Cliff Alexander dialogue going through between Coy and Rex. Coy says, on the bright side, at least Cliff ended up being a complete bum. Is that a fair assessment of Cliff Alexander? Complete bum?
Yeah, he did. He did.
He was good in college, wasn't he?
He was okay. I mean, the hype he had was ridiculous. They were calling him like the next Dwight Howard.
But like, when I think complete bum, I think Mady Sissoko.
Okay, see why?
Like, Cliff was better than that, right? He made it to the NBA. That's not a complete bum.
I mean, he made it for like what, a couple months? I don't think he was ever actually in the NBA.
Can you be a complete bum if you make it to the NBA for a couple months?
I don't. You tell me.
I don't think so. That's my stance. I don't think so. I don't know. You're the one with the teardrops. I don't know. I'm just coming to you for guidance.
I did see a comment about that. Someone was mad at us for calling someone bad, and they referenced the fact that I was like a D3 basketball player. And I guess I want to comment on that really quickly. I never, ever stated that I'm better than any of the people that we talk about. I know I'm not. They played at a very higher level than me. That's understandable. But the position that we're in, I can't just call everybody good. If you want that, go find somewhere where they do that. But I'm not just going to call everybody good. Everyone isn't good. I'm not good, but I can tell. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not a disrespectful thing. It's part of what we're doing.
I think good is a relative term too. Like, any player that plays college basketball at the Division I level is objectively good at basketball in some sense. Just like anybody who does a podcast 5 days a week is objectively good at podcasting. That doesn't mean that we are the best podcast in the world. Like, on the scale of podcasts, our videos that get 500 views are not in the top 95% of podcasts in the world. So like, you could say we suck as a podcast and you might be correct about it. So like, we're not going to get upset about that. We might fight you, and Carter's big. He has hands. So I wouldn't want that, but I'm just saying, I don't think people should get upset when we call people bad or good or whatever. It is what it is. Okay. Good day, comments. Appreciate you getting us through hump day on a quiet. What are you doing? This is like 20 seconds of quick hands.
Oh,
okay. Have you ever like boxed or anything, by the way? Like, have you anything?
I mean, you mean like a title boxing class or something like
Well,
that?
Have you ever like wrestled or boxed or any of that shit, like head-to-head fighting?
I mean, I've boxed before, yeah, like just a boxing class. Actually, I haven't been in that many fights in my life necessarily. I think it's because I'm physically imposing, people know, but I haven't really been in like multiple fights. I'm undefeated in fights in my life, but I haven't been in a lot.
How many fights have you been in?
I mean, is it like in a group setting, or is it just like me one-on-one versus somebody? Like there's a couple of different things that go into it.
I'd like details on both categories.
I mean, I've probably been in my life probably like 10 total.
That seems like a higher amount than I was expecting when you said you have.
Yeah, I've been a part of a lot of group fights, so a lot of those are group fights.
Okay.
A lot of those are group fights that I have nothing to do with, but maybe a friend gets into an argument or something like that, and I come in like with a dirty shot, very dirty fighter too. I don't care if you're not looking. If you're not looking, that makes me want to swing.
What about individual fights?
Individual fights, I'm undefeated.
How many have you been in?
I would say probably 3 of those are individual fights, just like straight up one-on-ones.
Can we get any details on who those were against and what happened?
I don't know. Ask those guys.
Could spend another hour talking about this. This is great. The teardrops are strictly for Jim, right? They're not for any of your fight victims.
No, this is all for Jim. It's for the victim of Ward Manuel and the NCAA.
I mean, look at you. You're really going to lengths for your boy Jim. I mean, it's impressive. I've never seen a man show this type of physical support for another human being the way you are showing love physically for Jim Harbaugh.
I ride for 4. I die for 4.
We might as well get to our topics. I'm sorry this episode is a mess, people. I'm trying out here. We're going to do our first rendition of Pick Your Final Four. So this is one of my favorite games in the season. I make many jokes throughout the season that just if the Final Four was today, who's your Final Four? We do that like probably 4 times a week once the season gets here. Well, it's September 6th and we have nothing to talk about. So I want to play it today. As of today, September 6th, what's your Final Four for next season? I will note during the season, I gave us both shit if we flip teams in and out of this. Like the goal is supposed to be your 4 teams you kind of ride or die for until it becomes clear you can't ride or die for them anymore. Then you can adjust. But hopefully whoever your 4 are 4 that last throughout the rest of the offseason into the season, and you can ride or die for them a little bit. So who are your 4 teams that you expect to make the Final Four as of today, Wednesday, September 6th?
Okay, so I have Michigan State Spartans. I have the Kansas Jayhawks. I have the Texas Longhorns. And then I have the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Whoa.
Yes, I'm recently have been swinging on Bama a little bit for a couple reasons. One, year 2 of an up transfer guard. I think Mark Sears has a really good year. Aaron Estrada from Hofstra, I think, is really good. Average like 20 there. I think he's a bucket. That's just a fun backcourt, I think. And also, addition by subtraction, they lost Javon Quinterly. I think that'll up the team a little bit. He was hurt, and I just don't think he played necessarily well coming down the stretch. And I like Grant Nelson as well, the transfer from North Dakota State. So I think I'm in on the Bama team to finally make a run. And I think it's predicated on their guard play as well.
I would like the swing of everybody expected Bama to make it last year, and then they get all the guys out pretty much except for Mark Sears, and now this is the year. I like teams like that where it's kind of you don't see them coming, but they're still talented. I would like to nominate Grant Nelson for this year's is he good or bad? Like he's either the worst good player or the best bad player. I'd like to nominate him to take Arthur Kaluma's torch there.
We'll see. I've been looking for Grant Nelson jerseys. So
yeah, all time like highlight guy, right? But again, I don't know. I don't know if he's good or bad. He's Arthur Kaluma to me, kind of, which means he's obviously good. But is he like bad good or is he good bad? It's one of the two. I don't know. What if I told you that I don't hate that list at all. I like those 4 teams. I don't like Bama. I don't think they make the Final Four, but outside of that, I like those 3 teams.
So you like Texas?
Well, what if I told you, Cart, of your 4 Final Four teams, only one of your 4 is on my list? What team would you think is the one on my list?
Michigan State.
Try again.
Kansas?
Try again.
Texas.
I was gonna try and surprise you here. So
welcome.
I only had 5 teams in contention here. And Michigan State is the 5th, and they're not going to make my cut, quite frankly, because I think it's ridiculous to have 2 Big Ten teams in a Final Four. I just think the conference is too far away from actually being that good, even if I think Michigan State and Purdue are that good. So by default, I had to cut one, and I did debate Purdue or Michigan State. I'm rocking with Purdue for now. I think Purdue is the best team in the country. I've been giving Mike Miller shit for this over at the Field of 68 Daily because he's a Kansas fan and he keeps ranking Purdue first, and I keep telling him he's just reverse jinxing this. I don't think he's reverse jinxing it. I think Purdue has a very fair shot to be the best team in the country. I don't think Kansas makes the Final Four because Hunter Dickinson's their best player, and I don't believe you can actually make it that far with Hunter Dickinson as your best player. Next, I have, after Purdue, I have Duke. I think that Duke has the correct mix of freshman stars with returning guys. People forget how much Duke has returning. Like, it's insane that they didn't lose any of Filipowski, Proctor, Mitchell. That's insane. Like, why did those guys not leave? I'm very confused by it.
The Brotherhood.
Well, they're back, and they adding McCall and the rest of these guys. McCain. Sorry, not McCall. Yeah, McCain. My bad. I'm bad with freshmen until they get on the floor. Okay. Just adding everybody they got with this is ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm buying Duke. My third team is Texas, as I mentioned. You've sold me on Texas mostly, and I would like to see Max Ace miss Magic again. So, also kind of want to buy hard on Rodney Terry.
I like that. Welcome.
I'm willing to ride for Rodney Terry. And final team, UConn.
I was considering UConn instead of Alabama, but I didn't know if I wanted to reach on the back-to-back Final Fours.
Yeah, UConn's the one, if I was going to put two Big Ten teams in, UConn was the one that was out, but it felt wrong having two Big Ten teams in, so I land on UConn. I think Klingon is just a non-negotiable superstar. If Klingon wasn't so good, I'd be more worried about this, but we know at minimum Klingon is 90% of what Zach Edey is, so I'm in on that. I like the guys that they bring back around him too. I think they bring enough pieces back from last year's team, even though they lose Hawkins and Snogo. And then even though I make fun of him, Cam Spencer, if he's your fourth, fifth option, I think that's a really good team.
Love their guards. Newton and Castle will be really good.
Yeah. They got a couple guys who will be lottery picks if they play to their ceiling.
I like your Final Four, Gregory.
I like your Final Four, except I don't like Hunter Dickinson in it, but
I have a vision of Michigan State beating Kansas in the title game, and Hunter Dickinson's pulling the JJ McCarthy watching the confetti fall on Michigan State.
Someone did say on Twitter, imagine Michigan finally gets over the hump, national championship game in football, and the only thing standing in their way is Keon Coleman, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Michigan State is back, Izzo, in the title game for the first time in 12 years. The only thing in this way is Hunter Dickinson going for 25 and 15.
Storybook stuff.
It might happen. It genuinely might happen. So does that mean by default Texas is our team this year?
I think to start the season, yes. But we need to see play style. Play style is huge for us. Play style, uniforms, dickheadness is huge for who we like as our team. But I like Texas.
I think my largest problem with Texas is aesthetically, I can't get behind the burnt orange. I can get behind it with football.
I kind of the burnt orange with the white script. You don't like those?
I can get behind it for football really easily. Something about the all white uniforms with the white helmets. I like that. For basketball, it just feels off to me. If you took this exact roster,
love orange though. You love Syracuse.
Not that orange though. I need a bright orange. I need a bright look behind me. You see any burnt orange behind me? No. Come on. If you just took this exact roster, even the coach, everything, take everybody, put them in Kansas State colors and logos, I'm screaming that they're my favorite team in the country this year. It's something about the orange, man. I'll try though. All right. Texas is our team. So just to recap, Purdue, UConn, Duke, Texas for me, Michigan State, Kansas, Texas, Alabama for you. Obviously we don't know the matchups, but let's play a little. Who makes the national title game? Who wins the national title?
MSU versus Kansas. MSU wins.
Okay. I'm going to go Purdue against Duke in the championship. And I think Purdue wins. I think Purdue cuts down the nets.
You don't want Purdue? You don't want Klingon versus Edey? Or does Edey beat Klingon to get there?
I think he beats Klingon to get there. Yeah. And
that'd be
Duke beats
scenes.
Duke beats Texas by 56 points in the semi.
Oh
And
my.
then we get to the final and it's a classic. I think it's an instant classic. So we, just to be clear though, we both have a Big Ten team winning the national championship.
Yeah, but also to be clear, we have a Final Four with some Final Four teams in it too. That's what everyone needs.
That is very true. Yeah.
No San Diego States in this Final Four.
Some would say we're trying to save college basketball with our Final Fours.
It needs it.
From our words to your world, Sleepers fans. All right, let's move to Michigan State's latest visit they have lined up on the recruiting front for basketball. It's a guy you should be familiar with if you're a Michigan State basketball fan. Jase Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, not to be confused with Jace Howard, son of Jawan Howard, sons named Jase. Very important part of the state of Michigan's collective basketball identity these days. Depending on who you ask, wild, different, I guess, scouts on Jase. Some people think he is a legit prospect that could play at the best programs in the country. Some people think he's more of a mid-major player. He has, from what I've seen, definitely blossomed a little bit this year. Like, he looks like a different guy. He's getting a lot more notoriety. He's having more productive moments on a big stage at the grassroots level right now. So what do you make of Jase Richardson? He is visiting Michigan State in a week. Are you excited about Jase? Do you want Jase on Michigan State? And what's your expectation here of this recruitment?
Yeah, so with Jase Richardson, I will say this. I think you hit the nail on the head. He is a player who has improved a great deal over the last summer and has gotten better, and that's evident by he's also had a bump in most recruiting rankings as well. But for me, and I say this by saying that Jase Richardson is a good basketball player. I think he's good. I think if he wants to come to Michigan State, you take him. I understand why Michigan State is actively recruiting him as well. But with that said, every time I watch Jase Richardson, it just never has, nothing's ever been like, wow, I want that guy, or wow, I see this guy being I don't know, a big time prospect or anything like that. I just never have necessarily seen that. He strikes me more as like a backup recruit type guy, like a guy you take if you don't get another guy. But with that said, there is something there. Obviously, his father played for Michigan State. And, this really feels like it's just a me thing because everybody else speaks very highly of him. And you look at his, recruiting list as well. I mean, right now, I'm pretty sure we're like head to head with Bama. And if Bama wants a guard, usually that bodes well, I guess. But every time I watch him, I just never really came away like, I never came away like he's bad, but I never came away like, oh, this guy's really good. Like, I want this guy. And it really just might be a me thing.
If he wasn't Jason Richardson's son, we've done this with other guys before, but if his name was like Ben Williams and he was just a random dude, what do you think he's ranked? Because 24/7 has him the 52nd nationally ranked prospect, number one kid in Florida, 8th ranked combo guard, a 4-star recruit.
I think he'd be somewhere in the 80s.
Okay. So you think he's getting like a 30 spot bump off of whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he'd be somewhere in the 80s. But he's a take.
I think you're a little harsh on him, is my stance.
I know. I know I am.
Yeah. And I don't like to fight you on high school guys because in general, you're way more interested in that scene than I am. Honestly, I go to you for a lot of my opinions on this stuff. But from the tape that I have seen and from his offer list, I don't think you should have any hesitation with Jase, whether or not he was Jason Richardson's son. When you add to the fact that he is Jason Richardson's son, then he just becomes a priority recruit, maybe in a way that he wouldn't be, because it is fun. Like, you want program guys to be around the program, and that would be a really cool story. But I don't think that has any overarching like pull on this. Like, I think he is a good player. I think athletically he can do. I mean, he's Jason Richardson's son. He's not Jason Richardson, but like, he's an athlete. And this isn't a Jase Howard situation where it was like, oh, he has some mid-major offers, but now he's going to come to Michigan. Maybe there's something there. Like, Jase is a high major player without question. I do agree with you though, because when I have watched any like full game setting of him, anytime there's been an opportunity to do so, I never come away feeling like he's the best player on the floor. But I don't think that necessarily is an indictment of him. Like, not all high school players can be the best player on the floor. And I think he can do things to affect winning without being like first option guy in a way that could translate to a role at Michigan State, because he's never going to be asked to be the first option guy at Michigan State, even if he hits. So I don't know. I think you should be excited about the recruitment. I think Michigan State's going to get him. Like, I'd be shocked if he didn't end up at Michigan State. Do you feel the same on that?
Yeah, I'd be shocked. But also this bodes well. He has a younger brother, Jackson, who I really want. He's going to be really, really good. So that'll be good. We'll keep it in the family. Bring the Richardson clan along.
So just to summarize your feelings on nepotism, you are anti-nepotism across the board, except for when you're doing pre-nepotism to get the talented younger brother.
Yes.
Then you're pro-nepotism.
Yes. If you're doing pre-nepotism work, then I'm in.
Okay. But post-nepotism, like when you already got the good player, you owe nothing for nepotism. But when there is the good player still coming, like if you flipped, it's the Foster Lawyer Fletcher thing. Like you took Foster because Fletcher was coming. That just didn't pay off for Michigan State in the end. Yeah. But if you flip them, like you don't even give Foster the offer because you already got Fletch.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. All right.
With that said, I hope Jase Richardson is really good for Michigan State.
You have a lot of moving views on nepotism.
Yeah, it's an ever-changing thing too.
So Michigan was right to take Jase because Jet was coming.
No, Jet would have came without Jase.
I don't know. Rick Barnes wanted Jet, man.
Really? Really?
Oh, I don't know. Does the name Jase scare you at all? You got to be honest. Like the name Jase has to scare you.
Yeah, but the thing is, his name is he's Jason Richardson Jr. And I've never ever seen this. Jase is short for Jason. I don't think Jase Howard's name is Jason. I think his name is literally just Jase.
It is Jase. They're spelled differently too. I just think it's a massive missed opportunity to not go by Jason Richardson Jr. Like his name literally should be JR Jr.
Yes.
Insane name and insane.
Lean into it.
You have such an opportunity there. Izzo chugging along, man. Top of the world right now.
No one can stop that man.
Best in the world.
A cup of Buffalo Trace and grit, just getting it done.
Are there any other sons coming up? Like, does Kelvin Torbert have a son that's
it was actually pretty good. I think he's playing at Okemos now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Who else? What's Mateen's kid? There's a lot of kids going on.
Yeah, I think Mateen's got a son who's pretty good too.
Okay. So is Steven Izzo coaching all these kids to a Final Four in a couple of years?
I hope not.
Okay. All right. Well, so when does Jase commit? Does it happen on this visit or no?
I think he'll still take his Bama visit, but I think it'll be fairly soon.
Okay.
But he's going to take that Bama visit.
All right. Well, I feel like we got to talk you into Jase a little more. I think you're a little too down on Jase.
Yeah, people have been trying to. Maybe I'll get there eventually.
Shocker. People have been trying to talk you into someone that's going to end up in Michigan State. Shocker.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Shocker. If he ends up at Bama, are we going to talk out of him?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll pray on his downfall though, but whatever.
All right. Final exercise of the episode. Most slept on player. I don't think that's the right words for what we're trying to do with this, but I basically asked you to come up with 3 guys who no one is talking about, completely off the grid. Guys, hopefully we've rarely, if ever, mentioned on this show, who you think will end up being factors in Big Ten basketball this season in one way or another. So call that slept on, call that under the radar, call that whatever you want. I can tell by your reaction to this, you did not play by my rules whatsoever. Like
I did.
I threw this out that this is what we need to do. And then 5 minutes into us making our list, you said, is Ace Baldwin a good one? He's the first option for their team. So I don't know what you landed on. I have 3 guys who are not starters who are pretty under the radar. So you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Can you go first?
I'll go first just to build the suspense of your list, but I'm really scared for your list here. All right. I'll start with a Michigan State player. How about that? I think Gehrig Normand is a guy. And I think for rightful reasons, no one's talking about him because they don't really need anything from him this year to get where they want to go. Like Garrick Norman could be a total zero for Michigan State this season, and they could still win the national championship. But he's not going to be a total zero because he's good. And he's good at things this Michigan State team could use. He's a really good shooter. He's a movement shooter. He has size to him. But most importantly, he has shit to him. And I don't even say he has some shit to him. Like that's a phrase we use a lot. He has some shit to him. No, he has shit to him. Not some, a lot of it. Garrick Norman's a dog. And I don't like the dog thing. I make fun of Michigan State for doing the dog shit. But Garrick Norman could go to Gonzaga or UCLA or Cal or anywhere on the planet, and he would be a dog. He's not just a Spartan dog. He's a dog. He is chippy. He has swag. He's competitive. He's feisty. And I just like big wing shooters that have size and have shit to them in a big way. And I think truly when you look at Michigan State, like they're going to play the three guards. They're going to have to play Fears too. Like that's great on paper. All those guys are good. We know that, but they're all small. And depending on what happens at the 4 spot, you have a lot of options. We know Malik Hall's there and Xavier Booker's there. I think it bodes really well that Michigan State has a big wing that can shoot the basketball. That's not something I think they've really had off the bench, at least in past years. Like Pierre Brooks was pretty small. Cohen Carr can dunk. He can't shoot. So I think there's a role for Norman on this team. I'm excited for him. Long term, I love his prospects, but I think he's a name people will know by like December this season.
Okay, I love that. I guess I can ruin it. I had him on my list.
Oh.
And I wrote next to it, picture Russell Bird, but good and without Clarissa Bell.
That's harsh. Well, we're a pro Clarissa Bell podcast.
Yeah, I'm that's not a Clarissa Bell slight.
Why is Garrick Norman better without Clarissa Bell then?
I'm just saying he doesn't have Clarissa Bell.
Okay. So that would make him worse in my mind. So he's Russell Bird?
I said Russell Bird, but good.
But without Clarissa Bell.
I guess the Clarissa Bell part couldn't be added, but wait, actually, they might be divorced now. Garrick Norman is Russell Bird, but good, and he's going to marry Clarissa Bell.
Okay. Good luck clipping this. Thank you for that. We like Garrick. All right. Should I go to my next guy, or do you want to do your next guy?
I kind of want to do mine now. I want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Mine is Gus Yalden.
Yeah,
I think Gus Yalden.
I knew that. I knew that.
Did you?
Yes. I knew that he was going to be on your list. Yes.
You couldn't say that for the end?
You can continue, but.
All right. Well, Gus Yalden is a player who's not going to start, but I've talked about him before. I think he has a really good skill set, really good energy. He's just a guy who doesn't strike me as a normal Wisconsin basketball player, aka he's not lame. So, like, you have him with the siege, and I think those two guys are going to be something that's going to bring a little bit of life to the program. And from everything I've seen, I don't like feeding into this type of stuff. But Wisconsin's been posting like a bunch of summer videos, and he looks like he's in impeccable shape, which is really, really good. So yeah,
you like that though?
Yalden.
Aren't you a pro out of shape guy though?
What?
Like you last night when we were talking about who should you root for in tennis, you were like, who's the fattest tennis player? Like you like out of shape guys.
Favorite athlete, they always pick like these in shape 6% body fat guys. I need someone who's a killer with a little bit of a beer gut.
Yeah, right. So Gus Yalden getting in good shape feels like it would go against what you currently like.
He gets in great shape, gets on campus in college season, gets a little bit of a beer gut.
Okay. Noted. Okay. Yeah, I knew you were going to pick Gus. I don't have too many complaints about it. I think Gus Yalden's good. I think there's a chance Gus Yalden starts at Wisconsin by the end of the season. I don't think it's that crazy. Steven Crowell
over Wall or Crowell.
I think it would have to be over Crowell. But Crowell's good. I don't mean to disrespect Crowell, but if Gus hits, if Gus just is a hit at what Gus can do, I think there's a chance he kind of overtakes that spot this year. If not, it definitely should be a year from now. But I also get really scared that Gus is Jackson Kohler 2.0, and I don't want to make the same mistake we made last year.
I think Gus Yalden actually is baby Jokic-like.
I just think we're falling for the like short, baby fat center with great footwork again. And
I always will do that.
Yeah, I know.
That's my brand.
I will too. I don't know how to feel about it. You want to do your third, or do you want to go back to me for my second?
I'll do my third. My third is from my Buckeyes, Devin Royal. I think Devin Royal isn't being talked about enough. I think, well, I'm very familiar with his game because obviously he was a Michigan State recruit. I think that he's the prototypical like 4 in the Big Ten, dominate the conference type player. And, we talked about Ohio State a couple times on this podcast, and he doesn't rarely get brought up. It's always the other guys kind of first. Obviously, to add Jameson Battle, I feel like that kind of maybe cuts into his minutes, maybe, depending on where Holtman plays him. But Devin Royal is going to be a problem in the Big Ten for years to come. And I think he's just like, he's literally the prototypical 4 in the Big Ten who dominates. Like that's who he is. I get like, I've been trying to like come up with player comps for him. And I don't mean this to disrespect him, because I think very highly of this player, but think like Nigel Hayes at Wisconsin. Like, I think he can be that type of player.
I don't think that's disrespect at all. I think that's pretty high praise.
Okay. Well, some people feel differently about Nigel Hayes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a controversial guy. I like Devin Royal. I think that's one that looking back, Michigan State is going to be like, damn, wish we had gotten Devin Royal. But
Michigan too.
Yeah. I just wasn't he closer to Michigan State?
Yeah.
Davis tried to tell us he was coming to Michigan, and then it was like, we think he's going to Michigan State. Yeah, but you guys won't feel hurt about it because you're just bringing in top classes still. Michigan is bringing in nobody, so that will sting a little bit. I like your picks. I don't like the Gus pick as much because I think he might be over the line of too good for this exercise, but I like the other two.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Should I do my second one now?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no, it's all good. Second one for me is my namesake, my brother, Brian Waddell. And this might be a little bit of a cheat code because he was under the radar 3 weeks ago, and now maybe you could argue he's not under the radar. But I still think outside of Purdue circles, no one knows who he is. So I'm going to count this, and Purdue fans might be like, he's on the radar. Sorry, my bad. But he shouldn't be in this rotation. I'll just call it what it is. Like, on paper, there are too many good wings that Purdue has that should live up to their potential and be better than Brian Waddell. The problem is, from what I saw on the overseas trip, Brian Waddell looks like he might be the best one of all of them. And it happened out of nowhere because, like, we saw Purdue in person last year. We watched just even like warmups and all that stuff. Like, Brian Waddell was not a dude like this at all last year. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's physical or what, but he is hitting shots. He physically looks the part. He had some highlight reel dunks on the overseas trip. And again, competition level aside, because they were playing like rec league guys, he was notable because he stood out in a productive way, in a way that even Miles Colvin didn't. Like, all the hype on Miles Colvin is still empty gym dunks right now. And that's great. His athleticism is cool. Brian Waddell is doing stuff in a game setting for Purdue that none of their other wings are doing. So I think at the end of the year, there's a really good chance. I'm not saying he's going to start, but like in that group of Morton, Hyde, Colvin, Gillis to an extent, I would not be surprised if Brian Waddell cuts in to all of those guys' minutes in a big way.
Yeah, I actually did have him on my list, but I crossed him out last second for Devin Royal.
Nice. So we're kind of on the same page on this.
Yeah, we're aligned.
Let's go to one that we're definitely not going to be on the same page on. My third one.
Yo-yo.
Cam Christie. Little Christie, bro. I think he's going to score like 10 a game for Minnesota, and nobody knows who he is right now, which I guess maybe no one still will know who he is because 10 a game in Minnesota, maybe you still don't know who he is. But I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be good right away because Minnesota needs him to be. And I like what I've seen from all the tape. You can make fun of it if you want to. I think he's a dude. I think he's going to end up a better player than his brother was in the Big Ten.
All right. So one big thing.
Are you just not willing to talk about that family ever again? That's it?
Yep. I'm good.
You got another eye that's open for teardrops. You want to put some Christie family teardrops on that one?
No, they don't. No teardrops fall in the Christie household. They're always there to wipe them and make them a sandwich.
He's
It's okay.
hooping. He's on.
It's okay.
He's LeBron James' teammate, and he looks great right now. Like, can you please put some respect on his name? I know it's the whole Spartan Dogs until you leave the kennel thing, but like, come on. He put in his year. He did his time in East Lansing, and now he's in LA doing his thing like Keon Coleman is in Tallahassee.
All right.
Come on.
All right.
All right. Weird episode today. I don't know what Carter's on. Let's get to one big thing. Actually, can I throw a random ambush topic before one big thing that we spent 3 minutes on?
Sure.
I want to talk about tennis. I want to talk about the US Open. Because you and I are texting a lot about tennis offline, and we probably could have made this a whole topic on the show. But Ben Shelton with the big upset win last night. American guy beats Francis Tiafoe. I have some Tiafoe takes that will kind of blend in with my one big thing in a moment. But just what's your general stance? You love Ben Shelton? You think he's the guy?
I don't know. I feel like every tennis player that I've been like a fan of, you have put me on. So I've been trying to find some guy to kind of latch myself on to support and go along for the ride with. And I think I want to choose that with Ben Shelton. And it might backfire. This might be like when I texted you and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be Bryson DeChambeau because he was hitting it super far. Like that might be the same type of vibes. It might be the same type of vibes because Ben Shelton just has like this ridiculous serve. But he does make a lot of mistakes, like you noted. But he's the guy I think I want to like stake my claim to, and especially like among the USA guys. Like Tommy Paul obviously is in my top 5. I mentioned that to you. But I think Ben Shelton is the young bull I want to rock with. And it does factor in that he looks like me. Like we're both light skinned. I gotta pull for him.
At what point do you draw the line on getting to claim every light skin tone person looks like you? What are the rules on that?
I actually think he does look like me.
You say Coleman Hawkins looks like you. You say he looks like you.
I never said Coleman
Say
Hawkins
The Rock
looks
like you. Yes, yeah, you do.
I mean, shit. If the skin fits.
I'm not shitting on it. I just want to know so I can like abide by the rules of whatever the rules are on that. I don't think you look like Ben Shelton at all, for the record.
Okay.
But you do have similar skin complexion. But I don't think that gets to mean you look like him. You have none of the same facial features as Ben Shelton.
I feel like we both got some nice white TVs.
Like, do I get to claim every white guy? I look like every white guy?
I mean, you could.
I might have to start doing that. Actually, I kind of like that.
I wouldn't balk at it.
So, okay, I want to like Ben Shelton. My problem with Ben Shelton is if you listen to his interview after the game, he like the way he parades himself around the court, like putting on a show, is nothing like the actual human being he is. And I don't like guys like that. Like Kyrgios is who he is. He plays like a dickhead because he is a dickhead. Carlos just plays with this loving, infectious joy because that's who he is. Like he wins or loses, he gets on the mic and he's like, I just love tennis. I'm so happy to be here. Like that's awesome. Novak is an anti-vax asshole who will kill anyone to compete. Like that's who they are. And that's what makes them great. Ben Shelton, I don't think has a clue who he is. And he's 20, so he has time to figure it out. But like the whole, like pick up the phone, put the phone down after he beat him, like all this, like he was mean mugging after every big point, but he's supposed to have the best serve on tour and he double faults twice in a tiebreak when he was serving for the tiebreak. And then, yeah, gets the mic handed to him after, and he's just like giddy that he gets to play Like he's won like 23 straight, really? Like, I can't do it. And I think Americans want to root for Americans. I don't want to root for Americans. The American tennis players aren't fun. They're not good. Tommy Paul is the only one that I can truly like. I love that guy. I want to like Francis, but Francis is the laziest dude on tour, man. And like, I somehow I think it's literally because like he has swag. He has a lot of swag. And he plays a fun brand of tennis, but like he has this reputation of like the biggest hustle guy that gets to everything. He straight up doesn't. Like Shelton was hitting winners from 20 feet behind the baseline, and Francis didn't even get a racket on it because he didn't move his feet. And I've never seen that before. Like Carlos is getting to all those balls. So I don't get where Francis's reputation comes from as like a lovable dude who outworks everybody. Cause I think he's just like a talented dude who's not built for the big moment, never wins in a big spot. I don't know. Now I'm just word vomiting, but Francis Tiafoe's path to this cart was Lerner Tien, Sebastian Offner, Rinky Hijikata, and then a 20-year-old named Ben Shelton who double faulted twice away a tiebreak, and Francis still couldn't put him away.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
That
goes under a category of things you hate to see.
It's a horrible look.
But I feel confident in my top 5 tennis players. I'm throwing that out. Yeah, I got Carlitos in there. I got Ben Shelton. This is no order. I got Shelton. I got Kyrgios. I got Medvedev, and I got Paul.
I love your love for Medvedev right now. Yeah, I don't know. Carlos is just so far and away for me. It's hard for me to even put other people.
Do you think maybe you should think about making a tennis career comeback now that you're just like eating fruit and running?
So I do. I have
like you could be the lanky great white hope for Team USA.
I have a former coworker that I play tennis with recreationally, and we'll say this too, like from an adult grown man sports perspective, playing tennis with someone who is your skill level is one of the greatest things you can do. Like it's up there with pickup hoops for me as far as enjoyment levels go, but you got to have someone that's your skill level. Cause if you're just playing someone you would beat, if you played your best, it's not even fun. But yeah, I have a coworker who is like pretty much, he's probably a little better than me. He probably wins like 60% of the time we play, but that was again, before I was running and eating fruit. So if I can beat him like 90% of the time, maybe I'll think about a little professional comeback.
Hey, why not? What do you think the score is if me and you play? Is
like
it 6-0?
Set game wise?
Is it like 6-0, 6-0, 6-0?
Yeah.
You don't think I'm getting one?
You might get points. You're not going to game.
I won't get a game?
I mean, you got to beat me 4 out of 7 points to get a game. 4 out of 6.
I mean,
4 out of 7.
You could fault, double fault.
I got to see you with a racket. I packed tennis stuff when we were going to golf, but you're a little grumpy after golf, so we didn't golf.
It was also a monsoon.
This is true. I'm blaming it on you, but it was the weather. We should set it up. I do think it would be 6-0. You would probably win a point or two, but
okay. We need to set that up.
I am curious though, like when I watch tennis, I'm curious, like if I got on a court with Ben Shelton, am I winning a point?
No.
You know, like someone that is fluent in tennis, even just recreationally, isn't winning 1 point out of 100 against a pro.
Wait, you said 1 point or what? Sorry,
1 point, not a game.
I'm still getting my thing, my terminology. You're saying a point, not a game.
Yeah, not a game, just a point. It's hard for me to compare because it's like football.
No. I think you would because there could be many things that he could miss a one, like like hit it out.
Yeah. Okay. A little unforced error.
Are you saying are you saying could you get a true point like you do like a forehand cross court and Shelton just can't get to it?
No, it would never be like that. But I'm just saying, like, is there? I'm curious about it. I don't know because I know like if you made me play 1-on-1 with Jordan Poole 100 times, I'm not scoring on him once if he wants to guard me. Like I'm just not scoring on him once, and I'm not stopping him once. If you put me on a football field in space against any running back, I'm not tackling them once. I think in tennis, I could get a point. Just a point. And if I played one set against a professional tennis player, I think I could get a point, but I don't know how delusional I'm being in that.
I would bet that you get a point.
At what odds?
Like plus 170.
Okay. I think that's a little disrespectful. It's plus 170 for me to win a point, but okay, we can come back to this.
Jesus, there was nothing I could have said there that would have went well for me.
We can come back to this. One big thing presented by Big B. I put my Big B coffee today in Yeti mug, Sleeper's Yeti mug, by the way. Great coffee though. Go to Big B, get your favorite coffee. Cart, what's your one big thing presented by Big B?
My one big thing for today is it has to do with. I got to see how I want to word this. Okay, it has to do with family, and I feel like the last couple of one big things I've done, it hasn't been necessarily genuine or thoughtful, and I want this one to be thoughtful. For those of you who are still blessed enough to have your mother and your father out in this world, they appreciate more than anything a call, a visit, and or a text. So in the hype of the world and the hype of live betting and the hype of watching tennis, sometimes just throw your dad or mom a nice little text. I prefer a voice note. My parents love voice notes. Throw them a nice little voice note. It makes their day. Appreciate your parents while they're here. I had a conversation the other day with somebody, and I was talking about how I saw my parents over the weekend, and they literally went off kind of on a tangent about how they don't get to see their parents as much as they used to, and it made me grateful for that. So for those of you out there who do stay in contact with your parents regularly, keep on doing you. For those who don't, do it more. Okay, be a good son or daughter.
Wow. Is this coming from a specific example?
Yeah, I sent my mother a voice note the other day, and she just loved. She responded back, not even replying to my question, just saying that she loved that I sent her a voice note, and that's where it came from.
Can we talk about the Instagram you put up? I love when you do an IG drop, by the way. You always do like a 10 picture carousel usually, and it's always fantastic. The last picture in the carousel, for anybody that doesn't follow you, was a screenshot of texts with your mother. Would you like to talk through what that conversation was?
Yeah, I asked her, was I doing tummy time when I was younger? And she said, yeah. And I was like, why? She goes, well, you're 2 months old, stupid. And I was like, well, I could have been like doing something that applied to basketball, something basketball adjacent, and I could have been great. Like, you got to instill greatness from birth. And I don't know if my parents did the best job of that, to be honest with them. And I let them know that if I did like a parent review, a parent report card, they would get dock points. I don't think they instilled greatness from the moment they had me.
What letter grade are you giving your parents then for for raising you?
Like a B minus.
I know you don't mean it as a bit, but it's my funniest bit from our show is you shitting on your parents.
I'm not sure they gave me a great and blessed life, but I'm saying early on, don't know if greatness was instilled.
Minus is crazy. Especially off the note of just text your family that you love them. That'd be minus.
All right. What grade are you What grade are you giving your parents?
A plus.
Oh, you didn't say A plus at first. Connie and Dave, listen to that.
A plus. Love my parents. They did a great job. B minus, man. You are making me rethink like what I do with my daughter, though.
Instill greatness.
What does that mean, though? Like, I don't know what she's gonna. Is she a volleyball player? I don't know. Right now, I do have her. Whenever we watch tennis, like I'll flip her around on my chest so she's facing the TV and just sitting on my lap, and I'll hold her two arms, and we'll pretend that whoever the player is closest to us, we work on forehands and backhands.
See, that's instilling greatness.
Okay, so then I'm off to a good start.
Yeah, like we need that. Like I love that Mal's like getting her to talk and stuff like that. But what's that gonna do for her athleticism? You know what I'm saying? Like, you doing the forehand and backhand thing is what's needed.
Okay. All right. Then I think we're covered. Appreciate your help on this. Let's move to my one big thing. Okay. Different note clearly than you saying you hate your parents, but tell them that you love them. So
you know what? Here we go. I don't hate my parents.
You hate the way they raised you, but you love them.
I mean, it's constructive criticism. Is that not part of life? They probably would come back and say I could have been a better son. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay, what
did different?
What grade are Luther and Mary Rose giving you as a son?
I think I was like a what do they call it in baseball? 5-tool, 3-tool. I was a 5-tool son. I was good. Didn't get in much trouble. Did a good job of raising my two younger sisters, being a good big brother as well.
Won 10 fights.
Yeah, I was pretty solid.
So what grade are they giving you? What grade are your parents giving you as a son? If you gave them a B minus, what are they giving you?
They probably give me like a C plus.
What are you giving you as a son?
Oh, what am I giving me as a son? Oh, I was an A minus.
Okay. Uh, you really are just a generational talent. I just want to say that, like because you genuinely feel all of these things. Like none of this is a bit to you. This is just like who you actually are. And that's what makes this whole thing go. I feel lucky to be a part of your life in any serious way, my friend. Okay. My one big thing is I want everyone to acknowledge that in sports, high stakes moments doesn't mean you're watching high level play. This came to mind for me while watching tennis last night. It's the quarterfinals at the US Open on the main court at Arthur Ashe, and it's the first time in tennis history that we have two black men playing in that spot. That's awesome. It's incredible. That's a really high stakes moment. It just so happens to be two black American men playing. Super dope. Everyone's excited. I hope there were more eyes watching that tennis match than we've had on a tennis match all year. Hope that's true. It was not good tennis. And that's not disrespect to them, but like Shelton is supposed to have the biggest serve on tour. He didn't serve overly well. He got broken like 6 times in the match and was double faulting in big moments. Francis looked gassed from the jump. The announcers were just like, this is not at all what we expected. He looks rattled. He's not here. And I think now I'm going to sound like a snob, but I think people who actually like care and watch enough tennis had the takeaway I did of like, damn, these guys didn't play their A game. And that's a bummer because they can play their A game and it could have been electric. Like when we get Carlos and Novak on their A game, there's nothing more electric than that. But we don't have to pretend that that moment was some crazy, awesome, special moment. It was just a high stakes moment that was special. We had two black players. They both played like shit. And it's a bummer they both played like shit. And if Ben Shelton plays like that against Novak, Novak's going to wipe him off the floor immediately. And Cart, to tie it back to basketball, this is what we had at the Final Four. And I don't think we had the listeners we do now, but I went on a rampage on this and nobody heard it last year. We didn't have to pretend that it was good for the sport that the Final Four had like 4 top 30 teams in it. I want to see good teams show up in big moments. Nobody did. Just because we got to see Florida Atlantic and San Diego State come down to a buzzer beater. Yeah, it was fun. That doesn't mean it was great basketball. Okay. So I want to just draw the line on that. High stakes moments does not mean it's great play. We don't have to act like it is. Let's hold our stars accountable.
I like that. I'm not mad at that. And even as a novice tennis watcher, I can say that it wasn't like electric tennis. Like there was a couple shots in there that were good, but even the announcers brought up like Ben Shelton getting broken. It was 7 times he got broke, and somehow he was still up, and and gave Francis so many opportunities to actually, if he wanted to, he could have really put his foot down on Shelton, and he just didn't. So it wasn't necessarily electric tennis. I will say that.
And it's really more about Francis too. Like I'm coming across as really harsh on Ben because the forehand winner that Ben hit when he was down after the 2 double faults, that was electric.
Yeah.
But like if you get broken 7 times and you're Ben Shelton and you win the match in 4 sets, that says something about your opponent and how they played that game. So we'll see. Big day for the US Open today. I've said it. I think Novak got a stacked draw, like an easy draw. All Americans. Novak gets to waltz through shitty Americans on the way to the final. Every good player left in the tournament is on Carlos's side. We get to see more matches today.
When are the semis?
Semis, we have the last day of the quarterfinals today. So there's like a 1:30 men's match and then at 8 p.m. men's match.
Who plays today?
We got Carlos against Zverev, and Zverev actually leads the lifelong series in that 3-2. So big one. And then we have Rublev, Medvedev. Rublev is hurt, which is a little sad, but should be good. If those guys are healthy, it would be. Actually, I think it's Zverev. I get Zverev and Rublev confused a lot. I think Zverev's hurt. Rublev's not.
Okay, so then the semis could end up being Carlitos and Medvedev and Novak and Shelton.
Ben Shelton, yeah. And in which case Novak will win 6-1, 6-2, 6-2. And Carlos and Medvedev would probably be a classic.
Okay. Well, that'd be good to see. It's gonna be a good sports weekend. I also want you, before we exit off of here, to really keep that phrase in mind, because that was also a bar. What was it? High, just because it's high stakes doesn't mean it's high quality or high level.
High stakes moments doesn't mean high level play.
God damn it.
I appreciate how much love you're showing me for little quips today. And I appreciate all our listeners as well here at the Sleepers Podcast. 2 more episodes coming this week. Hopefully we have some things to talk about tomorrow because we're running low on topics. We probably will do some NFL though, because big weekend of football coming up. And Riley Friday should be back on Friday. I think we haven't confirmed that, but I would expect Riley Friday makes his triumphant return to the show, Riley Davis. So I appreciate you, Cart. Appreciate your parents for giving a B- effort raising you. And I hope everybody has a wonderful effort today.
Free Jim.